going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore. Hell yes, hell yes, hell yes. We're going to take your AR-15. Hell yes, your AK-47. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15.
Oh, hell no.
Hell yes, we're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Zoo Sunday Night Live. It's Memorial Day, all in the same shot. Wow, folks, Memorial Day. I guess we got confused. I don't know. Anyways, folks, Memorial Day, it's a United States holiday. And it's typically now the last Monday in May. And the point of it is to honor those Americans who have died in our nation's wars, to defend the world, to defend America, to defend the American people, our rights, our liberties, everything. What a show. I hope everyone is ready to roll. We're going to stay on. I've got a million things to talk about. I know I missed Friday. I had a family emergency. And that made it kind of rough. What do we do? What do I do? What do I do? Oh, my goodness. Where do we start? Let's do this. It is Memorial Day, so I want to thank everybody whose family has had members that have served. And of course, those who have given the ultimate sacrifice, served everything, lost everything, gave everything they had. I'll just stop right there before I get really upset about what's going on in this country. There's no way to not be upset about what is going on in this country with everything that's happening. I do want to start with Chin Music. He has a super chat of $105.56. So he's got the $100 mark with a 5.56. That is, folks, 5.56 millimeter. It is the round that comes out of the American serviceman's rifle, the M16, the M4. And any super chat donation of $50 or more, and I will have a Glenn Levitt 15 in your honor, in the honor of those who have fallen in defense of the United States of America. The United States of America. Not the United States of Washington, D.C. The United States of America. Here's to you. Semper Fi. All. God bless America. God bless those who fell for us, who gave everything for freedom, for liberty, for everything. There's just so much going on, folks, out there. So we do have Jolene. And we have Chin Music who wants to step up. Thank you, Chin. And this is what he has. He says, I didn't just wake up one day and decide to start speaking out on controversial issues that go against the norm, costing me friends, customers, and inviting a shit ton of criticism for no apparent reason and accusations of being crazy. No, I experienced multiple events that fundamentally transformed my perspectives. This is Chin Music on people and the world around me. And here we are a couple of years later, and I've been proven almost 100% right. That doesn't make me happy. It makes me sane. My critics can kiss my ass. Your spineless finger pointing will not be forgotten. Well, I'll tell you what, Chin Music, I hear you. I understand, right? We've all kind of eaten a lot of the same shit from friends, family, coworkers, strangers, customers, everyone, government officials, everyone. I'm with you, brother. I think we all are. It has been one heck of a wild weekend for me so far. And it's just Sunday. It's just Sunday. Just a giant wow. Thank you very much for the great super chat. And folks, if you stand for freedom and liberty, you are a patriot. If you stand for freedom and liberty, you are a patriot. You love America, you're a patriot. You love our Constitution, our Declaration of Independence, our history and our traditions, you are a patriot. In your opinion, your life matters. All right. Thank you again. That's a great donation. Thank you. And I enjoyed the scotch to start off. I have to say this. The more I think about the Americans who have given everything, I sacrificed my knees and portions of my body trying to make this world a better place. We've all sacrificed. But when I look at what is being done, it makes me sick. I mean, we're talking, I want to get sick at these people. Now, there are other people who are good people, and I want to talk about this real quick. Cafefe.com, right? We are the deplorables, right? And Cafefe.com. Sorry, Jolene. Great coffee, patriotic Americans, one and all. Go ahead and leave that up there while I talk about this story. Oh, by the way, this is a standard. If you got super chat up here, or you've got down below, let's see, you got PayPal, CashApp, and Venmo. If you want to use them, or you can use the super chat button up here to get your questions down here. Now, right, the people at cafefe.com, patriots. You guys, patriots. Listen to this story. The superintendent of Denali National Park, that's up in Alaska. Her name is Brooke Merrill. And she told construction workers to take down the United States red, white, and blue flag. The red, white, and blue, to take it down. You know what? You want to know why she said to take down the flag? Because it, quote, detracts. Detract, which means take away from the park experience. Folks, national parks, especially in Alaska, are fucking enormous. Miles and miles and miles and hundreds of square miles of park. And the American flag, it's not on every fucking tree. It's on a flagpole. Sometimes at the entrance, at the ranger station, and that's about it. What a wonderful Memorial Day commie ranger. Well, by the way, U.S. senators demanding some answers. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? And what the hell do you think you're doing? Now, understand me. This is the problem. These anti-American people out here don't like America, but they'll get elected to a government position and get lots of pay, lots of benefits, lots of perks, lots of vacation. These people hate America, but they'll go to work as bureaucrats. Same story. Lots of pay, lots of perks, lots of vacation, lots of benefits. They'll go to work as park rangers in United States of America parks and shit all over us. They are unpatriotic. They are anti-patriotic. This is Memorial Day. Patriots, folks. Patriots. That's who we are. That's what we should be doing, being patriotic at all times, not just on Veterans Day or Memorial Day. Not just on those days, but all the time. All the time. And by the way, Uman is enjoying his Memorial Day weekend. He has left the building. He's left Chicago. I have it on good information that he's been singing musical notes, songs. I'm not prepared to say what he's singing because it frightens me. But he's been having a good time. I hope everyone is having a good time. And now let's get into more of this, folks. Democrats, according to the news, are starting to get nervous about Biden's chances in the state of Pennsylvania. I read that news headline and thought they're just now starting? Democrats are just starting to get nervous? They have been in a panic, folks, and now it's beyond panic. But they have no viable replacement for Biden. That is how bankrupt the Democrat Party is. That's how bankrupt they are. There's no rhino Republican that'll change parties and run as a Democrat. They're bankrupt as well. They're completely unpatriotic. They've got nobody, folks. So Biden it is. That is how bankrupt these people are. Oh, there's going to be more on this. In fact, Uman and I and you, we've all been talking about, okay, Trump's doing great, Trump's doing great, Trump's doing great. Is everyone just going to stay home? Well, they've got a slogan out there, and I can't remember it exactly because, well, I've had a few. And then Chin Music helped out some more. It is the objective is to get so many votes that it completely drowns the left. Any attempt on their part to cheat will be completely smashed with turn out the vote efforts. This election, in other words, is not about beating the Democrats. It's not about beating Biden. It is about a monumental, massive, off the charts, just smashing the Democrats to show the world that America does not like what's going on. I mean, if you were to watch oh, Chin Music's back. Right? If you were to watch how this is going, right? We cannot let it slip. They're going to cheat. They're going to cheat their asses off. The idea is to smash and destroy their cheating so that America, shines for the world to see. All right. Well, we've got Chin Music. He's back. He says, that means Pennsylvania is outside the chest margin now. The cheat margin. I see what you're saying there, Chin Music. And Semper Fi to you, brother. Now, that means Pennsylvania, it's outside the cheat margin. That may be the case. But I think they are going to double and redouble their efforts, the left. Right. And I'm glad that they know, folks. They're panicking right now. Nobody cares. If they take a look at the Bronx, at New York City, the massive turnout for Trump and his rally there. Thank you, Chin Music, for that great super chat again. The Democrats panicked over that. Now, first they were cheering because it was raining like cats and dogs all over New York City. And they were like, yeah, enjoy the mud. They were talking a bunch of shit. And then the rain stopped. The sun came out. Everyone was out. And it was an incredible turnout. You would have thought that Trump was campaigning in some rural countryside and, everyone from around that area showed up. No, it was deep New York City, the Bronx. Black, brown, white, Asian, everybody showed up. There were some idiots from the left trying to protest or demonstrate, right? They wanted to have their voice heard. Who gives a fuck what you people think, right? Trump was there to campaign and talk to the people of the Bronx. They could be there any other day of the week. In fact, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, that was right in her district. She tried holding her own rally. She had less than 50 people there, and I believe half of those that showed up were from right-wing alternative media who wanted to hear what the dumb bitch was going to say. So she had less than, in my opinion, less than 25 people even want to hear what she was going to say. Unbelievable. The left, they are panicking. They're absolutely panicking. All right, Jolene, who's up next? We know we got a super chat out there. What do we want to do? Hey, it's You Can't Make This Shit Up. And it's a 556 super chat donation. Awesome. Awesome. You can't make this shit up. I appreciate that. God bless our patriots is the message. God bless them. Patriots, folks. Thank you, Jolene. Let me double check. And there it is. Okay, very good. God bless our patriots. I got you. Thank you, Jolene. I'm on top of it. God bless our who are the patriots? Those who love this flag, whatever your military flag is, those who love America, those who have served, those Americans who have not served and still love the flag, love this country, our traditions, our culture, our history, our glorious revolution which freed us from tyranny, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution. Those are the things that patriots love and uphold. Now, I was driving around and I saw people in their vehicles with flags flying everywhere in honor of those who have fallen on Memorial Day. We, folks, are America. The Democrats, the Rhino Republicans, the invaders from across the border, the illegals, they're not patriots. They aren't even fucking close. They aren't. Now, we got another super chat donation, and it is Darcy T, who's done a $50 PayPal super chat. And here we go. All right, another shot of Glenlivet 15. Glenlivet 15, where to put that bottle? There we go. Thank you, Darcy. This is for all the patriots, all who love America. God bless you, Semper Fi. Good to the last drop. And folks, we've got 223 people live right now on Memorial Day. It is a holiday weekend. I don't expect to have a huge turnout, but 223, which is the caliber designation that is the same as the 5.56 millimeter. And that is just making me happy and smile. So Darcy says, I love America, even in our current dire situation. On this Memorial Day, I give much thanks and gratitude to those brave Americans who have served this country in our armed services, armed forces, and especially remembering those fallen heroes who have laid down their lives for our freedom. May we honor them now and never forget their sacrifice. Semper Fi, and salute. Darcy, that just gave me goosebumps. Thank you very much for that great commentary and message for America. We are fighting for that country, folks. We're fighting for our lives and our freedom and liberty. Make no mistake about it. Make no mistake. We are in the fight of our lives. And definitely Semper Fi to you, Darcy, and all patriots, all veterans, and in remembrance, always faithful to the honor, the dignity, the sacrifice made by those who have served America and fallen in that service. It's a hard deal, folks. It's real hard to talk about. All right, let us move on if we shall we? And I want to get to this. Oh, no, you don't. Get back here. There we go. Okay, now, folks, this story popped up. In Massachusetts, the state where Boston is at. Boston, side of the Boston Tea Party. The New England area that was most vociferously telling the King of England to go stuff it in his ass. Well, in Massachusetts, a transgender, transsexual, a man claiming to be a woman, went on a stabbing rampage at a movie theater, stabbing 4 little girls, ages 9 to 17. Why? Why was this done? This is Memorial Day weekend. It has nothing to do with the trannies. The next month, folks, just a few more days, we're supposed to have Pride Month, giving these freaks and fruitcakes an entire month where they can go out in public and wear their assless leather chaps and expose their genitals to the world and pretend like it's prideful. Well, we were told this. Love is love. Love is love, right, trannies? We were told just be tolerant of the fruitcakes, all of them. A couple decades ago, just be tolerant of them. Stop making fun of them. It's not nice. Be tolerant of other people and their lifestyles. And then we heard from all of them, the LGBTQIA plus crowd. Before they had all those fucking letters, they were just the gays, the homos, and words that if I said them, they'd be offended. They said, we have rights to, and we just want to get married, they told us. And then they said, well, we have rights too, and we want to adopt children. And then they said, to our alarm, we support genital mutilation of children, especially those we adopt. We want our kids and everyone's kids out there to get, their nuts chopped off and do mastectomies, chop off their boobs. We want to give kids puberty blockers and transgender drugs so that they can change. That's what they wanted, right? Remember, just be tolerant. Then they said, after all that crap, we demand everyone accept and love us. And then they said, we demand everyone play along with our mental illness. Folks, everything LGBTQIA plus was considered a mental illness, a mental disorder. Not just the trannies. Everyone, even gay, used to be considered mentally shot. You have a disorder if you are gay. Not just if you're gender confused, gender dysphoria, right? So they said, we demand, the LGBTQIA people said, we demand you use our pronouns that we decide are real. And then they said, well, you're not doing that. So we demand criminal charges for those who deny our mental illness as something normal. And in other countries, that's the case. Up in Canada, if you don't call them by their pronouns, if you don't accept their bullshit, their lies, their mental disorder, you go to jail. They'll arrest your ass and charge you with a crime. The crime of knowing reality and accepting it rather than the lie. Over in the United Kingdom and parts of Europe, same stuff. And so the gays, the LGBTQI people said, well, we're going to put our sex change hormone in people's food and their drinks if we think they're conservatives and they're in our restaurants and coffee shops. That wasn't good enough for them. They said, okay, now we are going to threaten everyone with violence. And we will, when we feel like it, shoot, stab, and murder when we feel like it. And everyone is ordered to feel sorry for us as if we are the victims. Unbelievable. This is the world we live in. The world we live in. Are you ready for more, folks? Are you ready? It's off the rails, off the hooks. This is our Memorial Day Zoo on Saturday Night Live. No, Sunday Night Live. That's right, Sunday. I think I may have had a little more to drink than I thought and been a little more in the sun than I thought. It is, folks, Sunday Night Live. This is the Zoo. If you've got something to say, hit that super chat button right up there, and we'll get you right down here on the screen. Hit the super chat button, write your question, comment, thought, prediction, etc., 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 and we will get you. I'll make you famous. Memorial Day, here we go. Jolene, who is up next? And we've got Cyber Hana with a $20 super chat donation. And she says this: I remember watching my dad and granddad and my uncles and my brother give up everything just so we could be safe and comfortable. They are the heroes. God bless them. Seriously, that's wonderful. Growing up, who are the heroes? Right. My grandfather served, and my other grandfather served in World War II. My uncle Butch served as a Marine in Vietnam, did 2 tours. And so you bet your ass I heard from my mother, and we talked about everyone that served and the purpose and reasons behind it. And I think it's a wonderful thing that you, Cyber Hana, and many others have gotten to witness the sacrifice. Sometimes it's the ultimate sacrifice, and it costs people their lives. Other times it's sacrificing to serve in foreign wars, combat. And sometimes it's to accept really rough duty. It's not easy being in the military, and you don't get paid very well. But you're not there for the pay. Right? You're there to serve the country and protect us. And for everyone who has served and loves America and loves the Constitution, right, Semper Fi, and God bless you. For those who serve as sneaky communists, there's a special place in hell for you guys, because they're out there, folks. They're in the Pentagon, they're in the White House, and they're trying to destroy our military. They're trying to destroy what Memorial Day is all about. It's unbelievable what's going on. Anyways, thank you, Cyber Hana, very much. Super chat button's right up there. And I want to hear what you have to say, what you're thinking. It can be about Memorial Day, or it can be about America. It can even be about July 4th, Independence Day, which is coming up just after June, after the fruitcakes get their Pride Month, right? Unbelievable. Now, we are, folks, in dire straits, dire consequence, dire emergency, right? When the country's in peril, you put the American flag upside down. For Memorial Day and this particular backdrop, of course, I have mine, right side up. But because Supreme Court Justice Alito's wife decided to fly her flag upside down after receiving threats and being just called names, people in the neighborhood flying fuck Trump flags, Justice Alito's wife decided she would fly her flag upside down. Right? Well, now Democrats all over Washington are calling for Justice Alito to recuse himself, or they should disqualify him from any and all January 6th case and the 2020 election cases. Isn't that fucking ridiculous? Right? Ketanji Jackson Brown, or Ketanji Brown Jackson, right? One of the newest idiots to make it into the Supreme Court. I think she has to recuse herself because she doesn't know what a woman is. So clearly she can't understand complicated concepts like gender and make complicated decisions, because the Democrats in the Supreme Court are fucking retarded. All of them on the left, folks. They want Alito gone because he is a patriot, as far as I'm concerned, right? He understands the Constitution, he understands law, he understands the Declaration of Independence, and he's not afraid to rule in defense of our rights and our liberties. Rule in defense of our rights and our liberties. It's unbelievable. Recuse him, disqualify him. Ketanji Jackson Brown, whatever the fuck her name is, idiot. She should be kicked out of the Supreme Court because she couldn't define what a woman is. She's a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical expert. You don't have to be a fucking medical expert. Just unbelievable, folks. That is who these people are. The left are completely retarded. Now, I've told you, when Trump fucks up, I'll go after him and let you guys know. And here we have the Supreme Court. And I don't think Alito was on the wrong side of this, but police, law enforcement in the United States have a green light on highway robbery, right? Civil asset forfeiture is highway robbery, folks. And government, the Supreme Court has decided in a 6-3 ruling. I wonder who the three are that ruled in favor of freedom, liberty, and protection from having your property confiscated by the government, by its armed people on the road, right? Look, they got badges and bullets. They'll pull you over, and they're now authorized to take your property for any reason. They can make anything up, call you a criminal, arrest you, then let you go, but they're going to keep your car and keep your property. Period. Stealing property because a law enforcement guy wants it is fucking thievery. Like any other thug, except they have a badge. And having a badge doesn't make it okay. So those who ruled for this on the Supreme Court can fuck off. Unbelievable. Given the green light to highway robbery by cops. That's going to go over really well, don't you think? Keep it clean, folks. Keep it clean. You got to keep it clean. I'm talking about your freedom seed spreader. Unbelievable. Just killing me. All right, Jolene, where are we going to go next on this Memorial Day Sunday Night Live? And it's Chim Music again with a $4.99 Super Chat donation. And he says this: I'm not a biologist, but Ketanji Brown Jackson is a diversity hire garbage person. I think that's actually a compliment by just saying she is a diversity hire garbage person. She's a fucking retard. I see no evidence that she's qualified. Diversity, equity, inclusion is destroying this country and destroying the fucking planet. Anyways, Chin Music, I want to thank you for all the great things you've sent me. I got you. I got your message you sent with plan the wedding. Good deal, man. Okay. Let us continue. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'll tell you what. Let's do this. Margaret Brennan. I know you have no idea who she is. If anyone knows, raise your hand. Who's Margaret Brennan? Let's see. I don't see man raising his hand. She works for CBS. I don't know what show she's on, Slay the Nation or some bullshit. That's right. Mainstream media, CBS, Margaret Brennan interviews Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg. Booty juice, as dumbass Biden calls him. You want to know what Margaret Brennan did? She laughed at him to his face because he could not explain why only 7 or 8 charging stations have been built. Charging stations for charging electric vehicles, EVs. They have, what, a couple $1 billion set aside? $100 million? I don't know how many and how much, but they're supposed to have charging stations everywhere. And it's not Buttigieg, it's booty juice. Just ask Biden, he'll tell you. And 2, how do electric cars work with no charging stations? I mean, didn't dickhead Biden stop all domestic drilling pipelines and sell the strategic reserves? Basically just cut as much oil out of the country? Yeah, folks, the dumb fucker did just that. And I think in 20 years, by 2050, they want no more gas engines. So where are the charging stations, you DC assholes? No wonder Margaret Brennan decided to laugh at his face because he couldn't answer the question. What the hell does he do if it isn't overseeing transportation? He's the Secretary of Transportation. That's roads and highways, federal roads and highways. It's like they're there to collect a paycheck, benefits, retirement, medical, and in his case, he needs a lot of medical help. Old Pete Booty Juice. It's just crazy, folks. Crazy. And I'll tell you what. I told you I'll call out the Supreme Court when they fuck up. I'll call out Trump when they fuck up. And I'll even call out the state of Texas or the state of Florida if they fuck up. Now, in this instance, it is in Texas. A Texas prosecutor tried prosecuting a citizen journalist for filming, along with many other people filming, a police action. But they didn't like him. They singled him out. Well, they threw the fucking case out, right? Because several jurors said, no, not going to do it. And only one wanted to prosecute him, right? Well, guess what? Guess what? I'm a citizen journalist too, right? And the case for First Amendment protection is now going on in Texas in federal court against the Texas assholes who wanted to be dicks. And I call out everyone when they violate the rights of others, right? So this guy, the claim was that Mr. Pulliam interfered with police officers, but that's been dropped. That's been dropped. And here's a quote from Pulliam. He said, "We're supposed to enjoy liberty and justice for all, to be able to speak our beliefs, but prosecutors can violate the Constitution with retaliatory prosecutions to silence political opposition. It's alarming and outrageous." That's what he said. He says, "I was saved by a jury of my peers who stopped the political persecution after watching the video, my video, that showed exactly what happened." Now, folks, I love Texas. But there are blue cities in Texas, and there are blue law enforcement officers in Texas trying to do the same shit to Texas that they do in California, Illinois, New York, Washington, Oregon, and other places where they're big cities. And this is something that I wanted to bring up on Memorial Day. This quote from Pulliam, who has been exonerated by his peers and who is now going after Texas for fucking with him. He says, "We're supposed to enjoy liberty and justice for all." That is what someone who is a conservative libertarian says. And he says, to be able to speak our beliefs. That's right. So this is someone who is on our side, which means the law enforcement and then prosecutors on the other side are anti-American. So I'm glad this story came out on Memorial Day, because those who fought and died for our liberties did so just so this ridiculous man, Napoleon, and this ridiculous man, John, can speak our minds, share news in a way we feel is important. Mine, of course, is in a satirical format. You could say it's sprinkled or seasoned with profanity, because that's how I feel. That's how fucking pissed off I am all the time now. I don't like being pissed off, but it's like, this is where we're at. This is what these people are doing, and they're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep doing it. Okay. It is Sunday Night Live. It is Memorial Day. Super chat buttons right up there. And what do we want to say? What's up next? And the man says, all you need is rainbows and unicorn farts. I'm taking that as a fart cloud there. I need more than unicorns and rainbows and farts. Thank you, Mr. Uman. I appreciate it. You caught me off guard, man. All right. You can't make this shit up with another 556 super chat donation. Thank you. You can't make this shit up. And that's a good looking hound you got there. You can just see in his eyes. Happy hound. And he says, I do not eat unicorn poop. No, I don't eat unicorn poop, and I don't sniff unicorn farts. Not a bit. But the left thinks we should. They think we should just fall in line behind the LGBTQIA plus fruitcake crowd because they're the rainbow unicorns, and we should just sniff their farts. Forget it. No chance. Thank you. You can't make this shit up. Don't fall for it, folks. Don't eat it. Don't suck it up. Live your life. Live your liberty. Live American. Live free. Okay, Jolene, where are we at? What do we got? Who's up next? And it's O.B. Waddell. And there it is, Mr. CrunchABunchOfCandy.com. And I enjoyed the rainbow crunch that you sent through. And Opie says, come see us at CrunchABunchOfCandy.com. And John, don't poke ham ass. I won't. I promise. Ham ass and Hamas. Right? They're pretty much all in their own boat. Now, we've been talking Memorial Day. We've been talking Supreme Court. Right? We've been talking law. We've been talking about our law of the land, the Constitution. You've probably heard this name in the past. The name Senator Blumenthal. He is a complete POS. I think his name is Sidney Blumenthal. Anyways, Senator Blumenthal says in an interview that he is deeply disturbed. He's deeply disturbed that Trump has succeeded in slow walking Biden's legal attacks. Now, I think it's amazing. I thought this was the Department of Justice and the state of New York, Letitia James. And I thought it was Fulton County, Georgia, where fat ass Fannie Willis is. But yeah, he's deeply disturbed. I think the only deeply disturbing thing is how deeply Blumenthal takes it playing butt darts. He is a communist sack of shit. What is deeply disturbing is we have a constitution, which is easy to understand. It is written in plain language. But Democrats and lawyers and politicians have chosen to try and make it a mystery, right? It's a mystery we have to solve using courts. It's not that fucking hard to figure out, folks. It's not that fucking hard to figure out what the Constitution says and what the Constitution means. For example, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Shall not be infringed. Simple, right? Simple. But Blumenthal is deeply disturbed that Trump is slow-walking Biden's lawfare cases, the legal attacks against Trump. You want to talk about slow-walking? How about 4 fucking years of Democrats, the FBI, the CIA, the Department of Justice even, refusing to obey subpoenas for information pertaining to the January 6th riots, which were caused by police. They refused to give up documentation on the Steele dossier and the lies in Hillary Clinton and everything that was done trying to say that Trump was colluding with Russia, that he was a Russian asset. How many fucking years and years of them slow walking or just refusing? And nothing was done. Nothing was done. Fucking cowards in Washington. They should have taken Christopher Wray out. Give us the information. Don't have it, you're going to jail right now. Bam. Done. Ruby Rod Rosenstein, go to jail. Peter Strzok, the evil elf, just go to jail for lying. Perjury. Dr. Anthony Fauci, where's the documents? They hide them. Pfizer, we want to hide our stuff works and it's safe and everything else, but you can't read the documentation for 77 years. He's deeply disturbed that Trump hasn't been thrown in jail because a fucking porn star who can take a train ramming her wants to make up a bunch of shit. In fact, her attorney, Michael Avenatti, is said that she's a liar. The prosecutor calls on Attorney Cohen, Trump's former attorney, who is in jail for perjury, or that's just part of the reason he's in jail. They want to use him as a witness. He's an attorney, which means he's a professional liar, and he got caught lying and in jail for it, and he's a witness. He's about as unreliable as a hooker on crack, which is probably who Hunter Biden spent the weekend with. Oh, man. Folks, here we are. It is Memorial Day. It's Sunday Night Live. Hit that super chat button right up there. Tell me what you want to talk about. It can be about our nation's founding. It can be about this holiday, Memorial Day, or the 4th of July, or Veterans Day. What do you want to talk about? What is happening in D.C. or what's happening around the world? We've got some trouble, folks. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. I got all kinds of things I want to share with you. But, of course, I want to hear what you guys want to talk about. Jolene, who is up next? We've got Dan Erickson with a $10 super chat donation. And he says the Democrats are always whining. Our democracy is at stake this election year. Where in the Constitution does it say anything about a democracy? That, my friend, is called sophistry. When you change words and definitions and meanings in order to fool people, lie to people, get them to believe the lie. Sophistry. Sophistry, changing the meaning of words to mean something completely different. In this case, yeah, democracy. We don't have a democracy. We have institutions that use, principles of democracy. That is, the people can vote, but we do not have a democracy. We have a republic. They want people to believe we have a democracy, and they're called Democrats. How appropriate is that? They think that they can take a vote, and that vote means your rights don't matter anymore. Now, whether they do it on purpose or were they really that fucking stupid, they think they can vote. 51% in the House of Representatives, 51% in the Senate, and they can violate your rights. They can take away the First Amendment or the Second Amendment or the Fourth, the Fifth, the Seventh, the 10th. It doesn't matter. They think they can just vote because it's a democracy. No, it's not. They can vote all fucking day long. The Second Amendment stands. And folks, I'll tell you what, if they were to try to do a constitutional amendment to remove the Second Amendment, that right there is asking for World War III right in this country. Right in this country. That would be totally asking for a shooting war immediately. It really is. There's nothing. The word republic is there. There's nothing. The Pledge of Allegiance and to the republic for which it stands. It's not, and to the democracy for which it, no, republic. Now, speaking of World War III, thank you, Dan Erickson, for the great super chat. Speaking of World War III, folks, remember this jackass, Boris Johnson, BJ? He was the British Prime Minister. Now he's the former Prime Minister. He has praised, folks, the Ukrainian Azov Nazi battalion as heroes. And this story was accompanied by a picture of the jackass standing there next to a pseudo neo-Nazi flag with these idiots. Anyways, I just want to give you some background of BJ, Boris Johnson, who as prime minister was willing to pose with fucking Nazis. And these aren't just regular Nazis now. Oh no. Oh, wait till you hear this. Wait until you hear this. Boris Johnson wants them to be nuclear Nazis. That's right. He wants long-range weapons given to the Ukrainian military so they can attack deep inside Russian territory. Why don't they attack the Russian military, which is right there in former Ukrainian territory? You see, it's not about defeating the Russians. They know they can't. What they're trying to do is start a nuclear war. They want it to go nuclear. Right? The other day, right, these idiots are saying we need to give Ukraine missiles. Little shit stain Voldemort Zelensky is asking for American missiles that will reach into Russia deep. And now the NATO chief, folks, NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It's a military conglomerate, which includes Canada and the United States government. It's a conglomerate of military forces that say, if any of us are attacked, we are going to protect one another. And it was put together to stop communist aggression, to stop socialist aggression. Well, I guess times have changed, haven't they? But the NATO chief is saying that the United States government they must allow Ukraine to fire missiles into the Russian mainland. So Voldemort Zelensky was asking for it, right? Boris Johnson is asking for it. Some members of the United States government are asking for it. And this level, folks, this level of irresponsibility and retardation is off the hook. If the United States government gives long-range missiles and then authorizes the Ukrainian military to fire them into Russia, and when we say into Russia, that means Russian military bases and Moscow. We're dangerously close, folks, to World War III and a nuclear exchange. We're that close. We're that close, folks. It's unbelievable. Just crazy. Oh, good golly. Good golly, folks. What is going on? I tell you, Jolene. Ooh, man. All of you out there, Chin and Dan. What a shit show. Memorial Day. What a great day. All righty, thank you. What a great day, Memorial Day, to remember America's heroes Why? It's not just, hey, let's remember the Americans who died fighting in wars. No. Why did they die? Why did they serve? What were they protecting? You and me, our country. That's why they fought. They risked their lives and they paid the ultimate price, not so some fruitcake can get his ass reamed in the Senate, literally. Not so some ding-dongs can march down the street wearing assless chaps. Not so the military can destroy itself with their program and the legal system to destroy itself with woke diversity, equity, and inclusion. No. Some crazy shit, folks. In fact, the FBI, the woke FBI, has signed an agreement with an organization called Blacks in Government. They signed an agreement with them, right? Well, the House is investigating, right? The House is the Republicans in the House of Representatives, they're investigating FBI's diversity, equity, and inclusion hires. But hey, the FBI is like, well, I don't give a shit that you're investigating us. We're going to cut a deal with the company or the organization called Blacks in Government. So basically, there's going to be a division of the FBI called the Afro-LGB Marxist Patrol. Is this like the Untouchables, but fruitcakery and stupidity on acid? Right? The FBI is gay and corrupt beyond repair, folks, period. Gay and corrupt beyond repair. In fact, J. Edgar Hoover, the man who started the FBI, its first director, spent his entire life there. 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, into the 60s. His entire life was a complete and total fruitcake. Homosexual. So why not? Why not do this now? I mean, the FBI has always been, folks, suspiciously fruity. And despite all of the good press, the TV shows, the movies, people saying, oh, they're great people. What have we seen from them? What have we seen from them? January 6th, arresting little old women, men, people who were invited into Congress, right? Capitol Hill. Unbelievable, folks. All right, let's do this. We've got some super chat donations out there that are super chats. Jolene, what do we got? Who's up next? And it is the Unprepared Mind with a $49.99 super chat donation. And I love the name, man. The Unprepared Mind. Well, you come to the right channel because we're all about preparing. So let me pour a 15-year Glenlivet Scotch. Semper Fi to you. Happy Memorial Day to you, the Unprepared Mind. And I will drink this in honor of our fallen comrades, patriots, brothers, and all those that have served and supported them here from home, America. Woo! Mother's milk. Good golly. Unprepared Mind. He says, we are always in a prepared defensive posture. Could we not go on the offense by flooding sheriff's departments all across the USA and demand to be deputized so we can arrest known violators of the Constitution and a list of perps we can all view? Thoughts? Well, I'll tell you what. I understand exactly what you're talking about. You and I, us, all American patriots, we know who the fucking criminals are. We know. It's congressmen and congresswomen like Chuck Schumer, AOC, right? The entire jihad squad, Nancy Pelosi, they get paid what? $150,000 a year? But somehow in just a few years of service to the country, not like the men and women who serve in the military, but their service in Washington, D.C., they are now multi-millionaires. How the fuck is that possible? We know who the criminals are. They allow themselves to do insider trading. At the state level, every politician, you can look at their record and what they're saying. The fact that they try, the mere attempt to violate our rights, our constitutional Bill of Rights, is, in my opinion, a criminal offense because they're doing it intentionally. They're completely ignoring their oath. I think violating their oath to defend and uphold the Constitution is a crime. It's a fucking crime, Mr. Unprepared Mind. It's a crime. Because they took an oath to defend and uphold, not tear down, but uphold. Uphold the Constitution. All across this country, the United States of America, these United States of America, you are correct. We know who the criminals are. And locally, our local county, city, police, mayor, city council people, we know who the fucking criminals are. We know who they are. They want to violate our rights. They want to tax us unconstitutionally. Yes, they do. They don't care. They don't want to uphold the Constitution either. They're criminals. School boards allowing pornographic material to stay in school when they've been advised it's there. That's criminal. You're grooming. You are exposing children to sexual content, and that's a fucking crime. They should be arrested. I agree with you. I think sheriff's departments should be flooded with honest, polite, law-abiding citizens who are and show up with a list of criminals in their area. School board, you got it. Teachers, for what they're doing. You bet. Fucking A. Show up with a list of the people and the crimes that you say they have committed. And you, as a deputized member of the sheriff's department, all deputies are deputized. You should be able to go arrest those fucking people, haul them to jail, refer it to the district attorney, and I'm sure the DA will let them go. At the county, the state, even the federal level, they'll just let them go. But you've now arrested them. And as soon as they let them back out, you arrest them again. Just because the district attorney, right, let them go. Just because the district attorney let them go does not mean they can't be arrested again, because they were never tried for the fucking crime. They weren't acquitted. They were never acquitted, therefore they can be arrested again for it. Just like if you commit a crime and the state tries you and the state finds you innocent, not guilty. Well, the federal government, if there was a federal crime involved, can arrest you for the same fucking crime and try you a second time. Even though you've been acquitted at the state level, they're like, no, we got federal charges now. These fucking people that you're talking about, the criminals that we know, right? Violators of the Constitution, violators of the law, perpetrators. Anyways, I'm in that kind of a fucking mood. The patriots who fought the English to free our country didn't do so these people can groom and sexualize children and violate the Constitution and screw us over. No, that's not the point of it, right? And it's not just the American Revolution. It's every war that's been fought since then. Right? We didn't fight as Americans and die as Americans for 250 fucking years. So these people can be delinquent, criminal scumbags. I'm going to tell you what, Mr. Unprepared Mind. If things go Mad Max, there's going to be a lot of law and order handed out. There's going to be a lot of crime handed out as well. We need to be aware of the criminals and be lawful about all of our actions. And you know that being lawful in our actions means protecting America and our rights. I wonder what's going to happen. How long? All right. Thanks, man. Thank you. Jolene, who is up next? What do we got going on in the world of super chat donations? We got Rooster Cogburn with a $5 super chat donation. He says, hey, I drive a truck with ready-mix concrete. I tell you what, that is not an easy job. He says, this time of year, we should be busy. Yet we barely steady and the boss is cutting overtime. And that is not a good sign. It is May the 26th. May the 26th. We're in the middle of spring. June 21st is the first day of summer. We're in the middle of spring. Construction should be taking off. Right? In my world, it is. In your world, you are barely holding steady. That is alarming. Absolutely alarming, Rooster. I hope things get better, turn up, and you continue to get overtime. And here's the thing. In the world of construction, depending on where you're at in the country and the climate, you may not work very much through late fall, winter, right? So you're laid off, collecting unemployment, which is atrocious shit in most states. It won't even pay the fucking bills. So you work hard and do overtime in spring, summer, fall as a cement truck driver. I get it. And a lot of trades, a lot of people that work, they have seasonality. So it's feast and then it's famine. So you have to save while you feast for those famine months. And in this case, if you're not getting overtime through late spring, summer, and early fall, if you're not getting overtime, it's going to be hard to make it through the winter. And I feel bad, Mr. Cogburn, because the economy is tilting. They're trying to hold it up, but understand, all they give a fuck about is Wall Street and their banks. That's all Washington, D.C., the Treasury, the Federal Reserve. All they care about is their banks and the appearance of the economy doing well. And it's just the stock market that they care about. The stock market, Wall Street is not Main Street. Wall Street is Wall Street. Main Street is where you and I live and do business. And the people in charge are criminally neglect, as far as I'm concerned. While I am a deplorable, they are fucking deplorable. And they're not doing us any service. Rooster, I pray that you do well, that things pick up. And same for the rest of you Americans out there on this Memorial Day. Thank you very much. Jolene, who's up next? We're going to do a super chat donation. Good golly, it's Frank Rizzo. Frank Rizzo, and he did a $49.99 super chat donation. Here we go. Keeping John spiced up. I tell you what, there it is. Whoa, uh-oh. Poured it a little thick there, Frank. Semper Fi to you, brother. And he says, thank you for the freedom of speech each. You bet. And I'm going to celebrate on a daily basis my freedom of speech. Semper Fi to you, to everyone. Happy Memorial Day. Thank God there's brave men and women out there who are willing to fight for what's right. And I feel I'm amongst a good crowd of Americans. Mother's milk right there. Right there. Thank you, Mr. Frank Rizzo. And freedom of speech. It's incredible, folks. Freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want, except yell fire when there's no fire, like in a crowded room. Right? Something like that where your speech causes people to get hurt unnecessarily. Or calling for and inciting violence, something I don't do. I call for the incitement of freedom and liberty. But in Boston, folks, a city council member, and boy, was she a fucking idiot. I couldn't stand to listen to her whole speech. Far communist left Boston city council member from her seat, not out in public, not in her private life, while in council called for revolution. Even her liberal buddies in the city council were disturbed, upset by it. But she's calling for revolution, folks. What revolution is there? Well, there's two things to revolt against. One of the things to revolt against is overbearing, unconstitutional local, state, and federal government. The other revolution to call for is against the Constitution and our freedoms and liberties. And I'm sure this left-wing idiot is calling for revolution against our country. The American flag represents, right, our country. This dumb fucking idiot, it is my understanding, refused to take the oath of office. At least the dumb bitch is honest, knowing that she is going to call for the revolution. She's not there to uphold the Constitution, which is what her oath would demand, but instead she's calling for the destruction of the Constitution, a revolution. That's who these people are, folks. They don't want you to be free to speak. They want you to shut up. Yes, they do. They sure do. And get this. Freedom of speech, right? The Democrat leader of the House, Hakeem Jeffries, he says that Make America Great Again extremists, right, need to be brought under control. Oh, but wait a minute, it gets better. This fucking moron, Hakeem Jeffries, is talking about Make America Great Again. MAGA extremists on the Supreme Court. He says they need to be brought under control. They're not allowed to think in any way other than the left wants them to. You know, like Justice Alito, Clarence Thomas. That's right. They don't want them to have freedom of speech, right? But in the case of Alito, his wife has freedom of speech, right? Remember when they were attacking Justice Thomas and his wife, I believe her name is Virginia, right, was supporting Trump, and they went after her for that. And then they went after Justice Thomas for what his wife was doing. Unfucking believable. Freedom of speech. Fuck you, Hakeem Jeffries, you communist sack of shit. Folks, the people that died that we are honoring on Memorial Day, that this flag, folks, they fought under. They died to protect our freedom of speech. And here we have these socialist anti-American scumbags calling for the destruction of it. Now, everyone remembers the Kansas City Chiefs, their kicker, Harrison Bucher. Right? He's speaking again, folks. And he stands firm, folks. Stands firm in his faith, his beliefs, and his rights. And he's coming out again, and he said, never be afraid to speak out for truth. Never be afraid to speak out for truth. So, folks, Harrison Bucher, he is not afraid. And he's famous. And he's not afraid. He makes a lot of money, and he's not afraid to speak, to exercise his rights. Right, folks? Shit has hit the fan. And what better time to speak than when shit has hit the fan? Things are awful. The government at the state and federal level is trying to destroy this country intentionally. He is not afraid, Harrison Bucher, even though the left are going apeshit, threatening him, his family. He says, never be afraid to speak out for truth. Folks, he's not afraid. I'm not afraid, and I'm only visible online. Actually, I'm visible in public too, but I'm visible. And if you are afraid to speak out, why are you afraid? You see, it's fear that paralyzes, fear that stops, fear that controls us. Greed is a massive motivator to people, but fear is the greatest motivator of them all. And they want us to be afraid of them and them trying to cancel us and destroy us. In fact, folks, the left-wing idiot, the Kansas City government worker who is in charge of their Twitter X account, has been fired. You bet. She is a she, and she has been fired. Oh, bad news for this city worker. She doxed Harrison Bucher. Now, the mayor came out and spoke about her. Her career with the city is over. She's been fired. But guess what? The bitch's name is kept private. Why? We don't want her address. We don't want her doxxed. We want her fucking name. Just a name. The fucking liberal bastards out there will protect this bitch for committing the crime. And oh, by the way, I think the Secretary of State, I believe it's the Secretary of State, is going after her and seeking charges because it is illegal to do what she did. Unfucking believable what's going on, folks. Freedom of speech. Harrison Bucher speaks up, right? Great. Just wonderful. Right? Says, don't be afraid to speak, the truth, the facts, etc. I don't think any of us should be afraid, folks. But I understand why so many people are. Because when you speak up, people want to hurt you. People argue with you. People call you names. Wait until the lights go out. There's no gas because of Biden. Wait until shit gets wonky. They want you to eat bugs and manufactured bio goo that they call meat. Wait until there's food problems. It's not getting better. Things are getting worse and shitty. In any event, enough of my crap. What do you guys want to talk about? We're an hour and 15 minutes in, folks, on this Memorial Day special presentation of The Zoo, Sunday Night Live, where we talk about shit hitting the fan and also honoring those who have fallen for this great country, these United States of America. The country is not Washington, D.C. That is not our country. The 50 states is the country. All right, Jolene, who's up next? Who's got a super chat? And it's Chin Music. Hit that super chat button. Bam! With a $4.99 super chat. And he says, hey, would you rather be one, a couch cushion in a San Francisco nightclub, two, a bicycle seat in a pride parade? You have to choose one. Fuck. What kind of question is that, Chin? This is why being given a choice of false answers is a logical fallacy. Well, you're either with us or against us, right? It's a logical fallacy. I'm given two negative options to be told that those are my choices. Anyways, I got the joke, man, and guess what? I'm going to answer it. A cushion is something soft. It's something soft. It gives cushion. I would rather be a bicycle seat studded with 1,000 thumbtacks. That's what I would like to be. Pointy side up, Mr. Music. There, I answered it. I'm not afraid. But you didn't say I couldn't say what kind of bicycle seat I would be. I'd be a bicycle seat with 1,000 thumbtacks pointing up. Good stuff, man. Thanks for the challenge, dude. I always enjoy a good one. Okay, Jolene. That's a terrible question. Corsair Trainers checks in. Semper Fi to you, brother. $10 super chat donation. This, folks, I'm sure this comes from the heart. He says, people need to remember others died to give them the rights they take for granted or claim are just magically theirs by birthright, by right of birth, as if no one is paid for their rights. Well, I see exactly what you're saying, Mr. Corsair Trainers, and I get it. I get it. I get it. Our rights come from God. No man has given us our rights. No man, whether veteran or civilian, dead or alive, no man has given us our rights. But men have fought and men have died to make sure government understands and respects that and obeys the limitations that are set before them. The rights come from God. No man gives them, but men secure them. Men protect them. Men defend them. And men have died for them. Men and women, folks, that serve. Others have died to secure those rights and to tell government, no fucking way are you coming another inch closer, whether it is the First Amendment or the Second, whether it's the Fourth or Fifth or Seventh or the 10th. They are God-given, inalienable rights. And what does inalienable mean? It means that they cannot be taken. They cannot be separated from us. We are born with them. Our existence makes them materialize. Now, do you have a right to defend yourself? Not with a gun, just with a stick. Do you have a right to defend yourself against a dog that's attacking you? Yes. Where's government in all this? Does the government need to give you permission to defend yourself from a rabid dog or a rabid weasel or a rabid skunk? No, the government. What if you're on an island and there are rabid dogs on the island? Do you have to wait for a government? If you're on an island and there is no government, it's a desert island, an uninhabited island. Are you going to die just because there's no government? No, you have rights. You have a right to say what you want. No one else will hear you, but you have a right to say it. You have a right to believe what you want on that island. No one else is going to hear you, but you can say what you want. You have a right to defend yourself. Let's just say a crate of M16s, right, washed up on shore when you did. And the very next day, a boatload of communists wash up on the island. And they tell you they're going to take your rifles because they outnumber you, because they took a vote and they decided to kill you. Do you have to do what they say? Is that the government? Because they're exercising a principle of democracy, taking a vote? No. Your right to exist and defend yourself with those M16s exists instantly. Because it is a God-given right, not something a government gives you or another man. But in our country, the United States of America, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and millions of men and women have served and died to defend our liberties, our rights, our Constitution, to uphold the principles laid out in the Declaration of Independence. Corsair trainers, you got me warmed up. Always remember, others have died to secure our liberties from government, starting with the American Revolution. Folks, before the American Revolution, people were fighting the British and demanding their rights be upheld. It has just been the path humanity has taken. The path humanity has taken to get to the point in 1776 where they loudly proclaimed their rights come from God, not government, not a king, not a pope. No religion can take your rights, because religion is just something man made up, right? Right. Making up rules is something that men do. Natural law, God's law, makes a lot of sense if you look at it that way, right? Don't kill people, don't lie, don't cheat, don't hurt. The golden rule: do unto others as you have them do unto you. Stuff like that. Very simple. There's no pope, no religious leader, no secular leader, no king even has a right or an authority to take your what is yours by birth. And men, and a lot of them, have died. It is not magic. It is blood. How many millions fought for and lived to realize the fruits of their labor, right? Their liberties. Crazy stuff, folks. This world is full of crazy people who think that government is why we're here, and that government has made things good for us. It's not true. Government, as Ronald Reagan famously said, government is not the solution to our problems. Government is the problem. All right, let's do this. Let's thank you, Mr. Corsair Trainers. Semper Fi to you, brother. I hope all is well. Continue to do what you do. And thank you for getting me messages via Mr. Uman. Okay, Jolene, who do we want to pop up there next? Oh, good golly, it's Dan Erickson with a... It's harder than you think to try and make sense when you've had a number of Glenn Levitts on this Sunday Night Live at the zoo. Thank you, Mr. Erickson. Tomorrow is day off of work, right? Tomorrow's Memorial Day observed. The government has decided that it's going to bless us with a holiday. Whether there's a holiday or not, and whether it's Memorial Day or not, I constantly give thanks to veterans and patriots, people who love America, work hard. I honor taxpayers in this country. I respect them because they work so hard and they're forced to pay taxes. Anyways, enough of my stuff here. Let me drink to what Dan Erickson is wrote. Thank you, brother. Semper Fi to you. Happy Memorial Day. Man, that'll light your freaking fire, I tell you, every time. Dan says this, folks, and thank you for the great super chat donation. He says, the last time I remember this country, the United States of America, united, regardless of party lines, was the 9/11 attack. Is it going to have to come to that extreme? Or possibly enough people pulling their head out of the sand and honestly looking around? Well, I'll tell you what, Dan. I think it's going to have to come something. There's that Scotch talking. It's going to have to come to things very extreme. It's going to have to be very, very extreme. Or there's another group of people who have pulled their heads out of their asses or sand, if you wish, and they've been looking around. People are waking up. Now, for example, Mr. Dan, the problem we have is government. Government is administered and run by politicians. So if government is fucking things up, then it's politicians who are fucking things up. That includes both elected and bureaucratic politicians. And you can't tell me that bureaucrats aren't politicized, because they are. Just take a look at Merrick Garland, the lying little sack of shit, sitting in the Attorney General's office. Now, let me continue. People are waking up. The people of the Bronx. Who would have ever thought that a Republican presidential candidate could go to the Bronx and have all people appear to show up? As I said, black, white, brown, every shade in between, from extreme to extreme, cheered. There were men with MAGA tattooed on their necks. Make America Great Again, tattooed on them, wearing Make America Great. They had some really cool baseball hats that were made that say Make America Great Again and are politicized. The people of the Bronx. What you would think, New York City, right? Democrat hellhole extraordinaire. Look at their fucking socialist piece of shit mayor, Adams, right? Says he's a sanctuary city and then tells all those seeking sanctuary that Biden let in to go somewhere else. What a piece of shit he is. In any event, folks, people are waking up. The people of Chicago have now invited, that's right, folks, people of Chicago have invited Trump to come to Chicago and campaign and hold a rally in Chicago. an extreme left-wing shithole. But there are numbers and numbers of Trump supporters and people who have pulled their head out of the sand and realized it is the Democrats, Joe Biden, and Democrats like the shithole, shitheel communist. He's a fucking communist, mayor of Chicago, and he's ruining the city. Ruining the city. Businesses are fleeing Chicago and the state of Illinois, and they're fleeing New York City and the state of New York because they don't like it. People are taking their money and voting with their feet. They're not just not shopping in certain stores that are owned by woke idiot corporations. They're leaving and going to places like Texas and Florida, places in the South where freedom is being protected. Now, are there going to be other cities like, well, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania? How about Buffalo, New York? How about Cleveland, Cincinnati? How about all of those northern liberal fucked up cities? Are they going to start inviting Trump to come campaign there? I'll tell you what, the answer is yes. After the Bronx, everybody says, you know what? We want it. Now, what's the big thing here? What's the dirty little secret, Dan? The words that no one wants to talk about, right? The bullshit, the racial bullshit. Joe Biden says, right? If you don't vote Democrat, you ain't black. Remember that shit? They're continuously insulting minorities. That's right. They're continuously insulting minorities by saying, if you don't vote for us, then you, right, you're a bad person, right? You ain't black. You ain't black, right? In fact, get this. The stupid see you next Tuesday of New York, Governor Kathy Hochul, she called the supporters of Trump, right, clowns. She called them clowns. She's a fucking racist. She calls them clowns. So blacks, Hispanics, Asians are clowns, right? This racist whore will piss off even more Bronx voters with that. Unbelievable. Is Kathy Hochul going to call the people of Chicago clowns? Or is it going to be their own governor, Prickster? What a fucking name for a fat chuck of shit. Governor Prickster in Illinois. Is he going to call his people clowns for supporting Trump and going to a Trump rally? Probably. This country, Dan, I think under Trump can unite. Now, no, don't get me wrong. He's not going to unite Democrats. That this whole party lines thing I've talked about for years, Dan, years. It used to be, well, there's a difference between the left and the right. And by right, I don't mean rhino Republicans. I don't mean moderate Republicans. I don't mean average Republicans, normal Republicans. When I say Republicans, I mean Republicans that are for the Constitution, for liberty, freedom, the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, right? All the constitutional amendments, the Bill of Rights. It's called the Bill of Rights because they're fucking rights, right? Those are the conservatives, and they and the Democrats and rhino Republicans and moderate Republicans, they're all over here with the other Democrats. The gulf, it was started as a gap, then a gulf. It's huge. It is so wide it cannot be mended. These people on the left, they're all for killing babies. They're for telling children to cut their genitals off. They're for opening the border and inviting an invasion. An invasion, folks, which is off the hook, and I want to talk about it. They're all for the destruction of America. Fuck your gun rights. The freedom of speech has limits. The police can take your shit without a search warrant or right, search and seizure. Right? You can't just take people's property. Well, fuck. Right? They're all for that. I'm sure they're cheering. that police can now just steal your shit. There's going to be problems. There's going to be some fucking blowback there, folks. There's going to be some blowback, right? These rhino Republicans. Here's an example of one. Ohio's Governor Mike DeWine. He called a special session of the state assembly and Senate so they can include Biden in the November presidential ballot. Hey, folks, the Biden campaign, the Democrats have failed to follow registration guidelines and get Biden on the ballot, right? Why would Mike DeWine do that? Except he wants Biden in office so he can continue destroying this fucking country. There's no way, Dan, that this gulf can be fixed because the left, the Democrats, the rhino Republicans, they want to destroy this fucking country. You and I, patriots, we love this country and want it amended. Now, back to my statement about Trump. Trump getting reelected, and you and I, Mr. Dan, and everyone else, every single day need to send text messages, emails, going to the White House webpage and demanding our rights be upheld by the federal government. Reminding them of the First, the Second, the Third, the Fourth, the Fifth Amendments, all the way through, that they have to obey us, the people. They need to free the January 6th prisoners because they did nothing wrong. They were invited into the White House. They were attacked by the Washington, D.C. police. There needs to be a real fucking investigation there. The asshole that shot Ashley Babbitt needs to be arrested and tried for her murder. And many others. What about the Patriot who was thrown off the fucking balcony and luckily didn't die? How about all the people that were killed, Americans killed? Not just Ashley Babbitt, but other Americans killed by the police that day. Roseanne Boylan was another, killed by the police. We know who fired the first shot and started that shit. Got his name. Officer Shithead. He needs to be tried. Whoever gave the order. Nancy Pelosi needs to be held responsible. Chuck Schumer held responsible for what they did. What they did and didn't do. And their lies. The entire January 6th committee. There needs to be an investigation into them and why they threw away and destroyed evidence. Then they threw away and destroyed their own findings, their own paperwork. Why? Because they're hiding shit. Just like Hillary needs to be tried for her crimes. She was never tried, folks. Never tried for having a server in her basement illegally. She was never tried for smashing all of her office phones. She was never tried for erasing 33,000 fucking emails. Never tried, which means she can still be tried, unless, of course, they've got a statute of limitations, which will, right, protect her from being tried for her crimes against our country, for failing to do her job to uphold the Constitution. I tell you, man, that's some patriotic scotch if I ever heard it. Got me going, Dan. Woo! All right. We got more, folks. We're not done. I've got 20 minutes or so to keep going. So where are we going next? Jolene, what are we going to talk about? And it's Uman. He says, if you offend the woke, the only thing you can do is double down. Never apologize or they will pile on and take you down. I tell you what, when the left fucks up, Mr. Uman, did they apologize? Fuck no, they don't. Do they back up? Hell no, they don't. They double down. Then they triple down. They say, oh, you're offended by what we did? We're going to do it some more. We caught them with their drag queen story hour. They went national with it. Drag queens in the military, that shit should be stopped. They're like, fuck it, that's part of our program. These left-wing scumbags will do anything to destroy everyone. They can burn down half the fucking country because of St. George Floyd of fentanyl. I heard someone call him that. St. George Floyd of fentanyl. He's now been drug-free for 4 years. St. George, Floyd, right? They burned down the country, no problem. Let them go. Keep doing it. The vice president, piece of shit vice president, Camel Toes Harris, what did she do? She encouraged them to keep protesting and burning and looting and murdering. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't stop. But there are little old women who have sat outside of abortion clinics and prayed. They prayed. And they were arrested by the federal government for praying near an abortion clinic. That is a statute. That is a violation of their rights, their First Amendment rights. They did not hurt anybody. For there to be a crime, there needs to be a damaged person or damaged property. The right to protest. The right to protest is right there in the First Amendment. I don't know how these fucking laws, statutes, rules and regulations, how they can supersede the First Amendment. They can't. They shouldn't. It's a fucking travesty. Old women right now, as you and I sit here, going to jail. Going to jail. Going to jail, folks. Right? And the government can lie to us. They can lie right to our fucking faces. Merrick Garland, folks, he lashed out. He talked some shit, right, at Trump. He's mad at Trump because Trump claimed the Department of Justice has authorization to kill him during the Mar-a-Lago raid, which they did. The use of deadly force was part of that. For Trump, Trump's wife, anyone in Trump's family, Trump's lawyers, anyone there who worked for Trump, including the United States government's Secret Service, law enforcement. Merrick Garland can just fucking lie. Right. And any Democrat lie is superior to facts or truth. This is the arrogance of these fuckers in government. This is why shit has hit the fan. And this is why the flag should be flown upside down. It should be flown upside down because they are scum. S-C-U-M, scum. Fucking scum. But today the flag is right side up because it's Memorial Day. And I want to honor those who have fought for this country, not for Washington, D.C., but for the 50 states, for the people of the United States of America, and for our rights, our liberties, our culture, our traditions, our Constitution. Wow. All right. And by the way, never mind. Fuck it. Jolene, who's up next? Who is up next? And holy cow, Mr. Skylight checks in with a $99.99 super chat donation. He says, thank you for your service, brother, from us. And I want to thank you, Mr. Skylight. I'm alive, obviously. I'm alive. I'm no longer in the service, right? I'm a discharged veteran. Thank you, Jolene. But there are men and women out there who love this country, who are in the military, who are being told wear fishnet stockings and lipstick if you're men, and they're being told you have to get the Jim Jones juice. Still, they're still being told that, folks. They're still fighting it. They're being put in harm's way to make bankers money. And they're serving this country under threat of being sent over to Ukraine to fight Russia. Jolene, no, it's a Mr. Skylight. And I think we have an understanding. Anyways, I did not I want to thank you, Mr. Skylight, for supporting me and believing in the message, for being the American patriot you are, and for your secular and spiritual service. Everyone, folks, when it comes to freedom and liberty, it's not just about the Constitution. It's about a belief system and all that's good and holy and decent. Right? The golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Do you think these liberals believe that? No, they don't. They don't. To the left-wing scum, their mission is to not pay taxes, but make you pay taxes. I mean, for example, how is it that Michelle Obama can own 3 magnificent mansions and then sit in front of a camera on television and talk about how Americans need to give up for fairness so that others that don't have can have some more? How is that right? It's because they're hypocrites. So, Americans, people all around the world, freedom and liberty. Freedom and liberty. If you don't have freedom and you don't have liberty, guess what you are? You are a slave. You're a slave. Without freedom and liberty, you're a slave, right? Is that what humans were meant to be? Slaves? Is that our job? To work and toil for others? I thought slavery was outlawed after the Civil War in America. I thought other countries decided slavery was a bad thing. So now we work and we pay what? 30, 40, 50, 60% of our income goes to paying taxes for the federal, state, county, and local governments. If that isn't fucking slavery, I don't know what is. If you have to work over half your year just to pay the government to do a job they're not willing to do, like protect the border. How about the fucking roads? Right? I drive, when I drive around, a lot of times my knees hit my teeth, it seems like, because they're not doing their job the way they ought to. And it's not just Florida, folks. It's the whole country. They're supposed to work for I love how they came up with this term, right? To improve the general welfare. Not welfare as in don't work and the government will give you money, but our well-being, welfare. Is Biden and Washington, D.C. doing anything to promote the general welfare? Or are they just fucking punishing us and punishing us and punishing us and trying to take our rights, getting us to agree to them, and then asking us to agree that we have a democracy when we don't? Crazy shit, folks. Crazy shit. Now, when things get nasty, did you know that down in Haiti, Missouri State Representative Ben Baker, his daughter and his son-in-law were killed by gangs in Haiti? Number one, what the fuck were they doing in a war-torn rebellion? Were they on vacation? What is wrong with them for even being there? But think about this country. How close are we to having a situation where we get some dude named Barbecue who gets a bunch of his supporters riled up and says he's tired of government corruption? And they start essentially a rebellion. I'm not saying I want that. I'm just saying it is possible. Are you prepared? Are you prepared? Oh, by the way, just in case you missed it, Biden's rallies are being likened to funerals. And the dumb son of a bitch also went and spoke in front of the military again. And they did not cheer and clap for him, and he got mad. I was surprised that, like last time he spoke to the military, I'm surprised he didn't call him a bunch of dumb bastards again. It's like, you can laugh at that, you dumb bastards. right? These people are fucked in the head. They really are. Are you prepared? I want to ask you this question. If this country goes into divorce mode, right? National divorce, aka civil war, or not civil war, but rather a war to separate from Washington, D.C., a war to separate from the United States government, a war for the states and the people to once again enjoy their freedoms and liberties, which come from God Almighty, not government. People are going to end up dying. We will have more lives to honor on Memorial Day. It's very possible. Jolene, super chat donation. Who is up next? Who has something to say? And it's Dan Erickson with a $20 super chat donation. Bam! He says, what do you think would happen if 10,000 people in colonial army uniforms with shouldered muskets and a copy of our Bill of Rights marched on D.C. in a rights protest? Well, I'll tell you what, Dan. This is what I think would happen. The police would lose their fucking minds. I think that the president would call on the military to defend the Capitol, and that they would believe that it's not a protest, but an insurrection, because it would be an armed protest. Now, I like the concept of an armed march protest. We've seen it. We've seen it from the NFIC, the militant black group. And by the way, while marching in uniform with loaded weapons, they shot themselves and shot each other because they're idiots. It's been a number of years since they've been around. Now, I don't have any problem with it personally. I like seeing citizens armed. I like knowing that citizens are armed either with concealed carry or open carry. I don't care whether it's a pistol or rifle, shotgun, or oh my God, a black rifle, an AR-15. In fact, I still remember back in 2013, right, sitting at a bar with my direct supervisor in California, and a young man walked into the bar. And the owner, Gino, was standing behind the bar. We were engaged in a glorious conversation and enjoying a scotch. And this young man walks in, over his shoulder carrying a large bag, unzips it at the bar, takes out an AR-15, says, look what I just got. I finally was able to pick it up after my 2-week waiting bullshit with California. And he pulls out an AR-15, hands it. Everyone hands it around. We're at a bar drinking. It's fucking great. I think that people should be able to do this. Now, I'm not going to say do it, because the federal government might say, well, you're inciting violence. You're inciting revolt. You're inciting an insurrection. No, I'm not. I think people have a right to protest. And the very fact that they are protesting the Second Amendment and at the same time exercising that right to keep and bear arms. To keep means to own. To bear means to hold. Right? When you go to court and you're asked to testify, you bear witness. You're bringing it out. You're showing everyone your testimony. Bear witness. To keep and bear arms. I would love to see people, especially in colonial army uniforms. I would love to see those drummers with the snare drums, because, you know, you need to keep step. I would love to see that. 10,000 people, Americans, men and women, old and young, black and white, brown, every other dang color on the planet, marching with a copy of all of the Bill of Rights, including the second. I think that would be great. I don't think they should enter Congress, because that's scary to them. I don't think they should try to go into the White House. That's not good. Or the Supreme Court. But marching by on the street to show them. But I'll tell you what. The Second Amendment doesn't say the right of the people to keep and bear muskets shall not be infringed. The right to keep and bear arms, armament, right? the people in colonial army uniforms in 1776 had access to muskets and rifles. In other words, the same thing the military had access to. I would love to see people in colonial uniforms and modern uniforms. The uniforms that they served in as veterans, if they served, they should be able to wear and bear whatever arms they have, whether it's musket or rifle, lever action, shotgun. I would love to see it, man. What do I think would happen? The government would lose its fucking mind. They'd arrest them all. That's what I think would happen. Merrick Garland would scream like a little girl. AOC would lie about everything. They would start a fight with them. The police would come out and start a fight and try stopping it. And then they could claim it was an insurrection. They would call the National Guard, the military, somebody to show up with tanks to say, hey, you can't do that. I hope that somebody tries it. I will not go to Washington, D.C. I don't want Washington, D.C. back because I really don't like Washington, D.C. at all. It is a cesspool. Trump called it a swamp. It is a filthy cesspool full of the debris of humanity. And there are good people there trying to clean it up. And I admire them and support them. But I think it's a losing battle and a lost fucking cause. Still, the fight needs to be fought. And the tree of liberty is going to be watered with the blood of patriots and tyrants once again. And Washington, D.C. is full of tyrants. Another reason I wouldn't want them there with muskets. I would want them there with AR-15s and AK-47s, standard capacity 30-round magazines, tactical vests, fully laden with full magazines. Because in the event the federal government decided to violate their rights and murder them, I would want them to have the ability to defend themselves, which is what the Second Amendment is about. I do not incite violence. I don't want to glamorize and glorify it, but it is a fact of human existence that governments are tyrannical and they kill their own people. If they kill anyone, it's their own people. Yes, wars are fought, great wars like World War I and II, but look at Ukraine. Ukraine has sent their own people. Zelensky has sent his own people to go fight Russia and die in territory that voted to leave Ukraine. So imagine this. Imagine the South. The South in the United States of America said, you know what? We have divorced you, Washington, D.C. And so Washington, D.C. tells everyone in Maine, New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, did I say New York? New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Virginia, Maryland, Illinois, Indiana. They tell everyone, you have to go down and fight everyone in the South. You have to die because they don't want to be a part of the United States government's bullshit system anymore. How wrong would that be? And if they just sent them all down here to die? That's exactly what Zelensky did. The eastern states of Ukraine voted to leave because Zelensky is a sack of shit and Ukraine is the number one most corrupt country on the planet. Number one. And so they left because they were being systematically killed and murdered. A genocide because the Russian people, ethnic Russians who lived there, were being murdered. And the people that lived there were tired of it. So they voted to get out. And so Ukraine sent a bunch of idiots. I don't want to use that term. Ukraine sent untrained people who were forced to fight. They were unwilling to stand up for their rights and say no. I'm sure many did, of course, and they ended up either getting shot or thrown in prison. In other words, being a human is very, very messy business. And war breaks out because people disagree. If people are weak and they bend the knee, they take a knee, they kiss the ass and the boot of government, then they're slaves. But if they say, no, I will not bend the knee, I will not kiss your boot, I will not do as you say, I have rights, God-given rights, and you are violating them and I refuse to comply. If you do that, you have to be willing to fight to the death. And that's what the Declaration of Independence was about. Fighting to the death against Britain until Britain finally said, we quit. You and I are going to need to fight, folks, starting right now, for our liberties and freedoms. Every day you wake up, it's a fight. Right? Memorial Day. These people fought against evil. They fought against people who were trying to destroy America. And now we have our own government trying to destroy America. Are you prepared? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Do you have your plan put together? Do you understand who the enemy is? Do you understand where the enemy is operating out of? Do you understand the methods, the standard operating procedure? Do you understand the modus operandi of evil and where it's at in this country? Who are the players? Who are the leaders? Who's calling the shots? Who's making the decisions? And who's going to have to do the fighting? It's not a secret. It's right out there in the open. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. God bless America. Happy Memorial Day to you. Thank you all for the great support that keeps this channel going, pays the bills, keeps me well stocked in tuna fish and Spam and other pork products that our good friends, the jihadis, don't like. Well, too bad for them too. And we didn't even really speak about them in this show, did we? No. They'll be back in the next show, don't worry. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Semper Fi. God bless America.